Hello, and welcome to the first critical reflection question, which is how does your product use and challenge the conventions, and how does it represent social groups or the issue? I'll be deciphering this question in four parts. Number one, what conventions are used in my project? Number two, what conventions are challenged in my project? Number three, what social groups are presented in my project? And lastly, are there any social issues presented in my project? Firstly, according to Google, a convention is a set of agreed, stipulated, or generally accepted standards, norms, social norms, or criteria, often taking the form of a custom. Let's begin with the conventions used in my project. According to my research, a typical thriller suspense film is kept low-key lightning, and the Abbas does follow it. If we compare an industry-level film to my opening sequence, we can see that my project is also portrayed as a low-key lightning. My project follows a lot of conventions, such as the use of climatic ending. The ending of my opening sequence is built to a climatic ending, as we see the missing poster indicating that something went wrong after last night. The ending leaves a lot of question in viewers' heart, like where did Tom go? How did he disappear? What happened to him? What was the nun up to? Is the nun involved in his disappearance? All of these questions left behind a sense of mystery within the audience. In addition to this, my viewers were also given a lot of plot twists, like when Tom wakes up and decides to go for a walk. No one knew what was about to happen, but when he discovers the nun, my audience was surprised to see, as it came out of no context. I also included a plot twist in the final scene, as we can see Tom breathing heavily, and right after that, the scene becomes pitch black, releasing a sense of mystery in the atmosphere about what's going to happen next. When the audience were surprised by the plot twist of Tom vanishing, no one knew, and that created a sense of mystery. One of the main conventions used in my project was the use of atmospheric elements, such as the sound. This can be seen when Tom steps out of his room and a spooky music starts to play. To what social groups are presented in my project. In my project, I showcased social groups involving religion, children, and the working class. The religious social group can be presented when the location of the orphanage is revealed. We can see Jesus' portrait, and then later on, we are introduced to the nun. From her attire, it can be seen that she is a nun, as I research upon Catholic nuns' attire in the starting of research and planning. Moreover, social groups representing children are seen throughout, as Tom is a 10-year-old and we see Tom throughout the clipping. We can also see children in the last scene when Laura, who was a teenager, hung up a poster, and in the background, multiple students are seen. Furthermore, a glimpse of the working class is shown when Eve, the nun, is shown doing something unusual. We can see a group of men are with her, working for her as they stand still or are placing something inside the white van. Now, I will be discussing the conventions that are challenged in my project. Usually in the thriller or horror genre, it is shown that religion is used to fight against the evil. For example, in the movie The Nun, a priest and a novice nun arrive in Romania to investigate the death of a young nun. However, they encounter supernatural forces, and with the help of their faith and trust in God, they fought against the evil spirit. However, in my film, I wanted something different. Eve is the abbess of St. Patrick's nun. An abbess is a woman who is the head of an abbey of nuns who are known to be chastity, obedient, in the enclosure of a convent, and serve their community by helping the poor and by being modest. But in my film, these conventions are broken. Eve is shown to be evil, greedy, manipulative, and terrifying. My film breaks the religious conventions, as a church is known to be a holy place. But in my film, in this holy place, Eve is doing unholy tasks. My movie shows good as evil. And what I mean by good being evil is that nuns are shown to be good, but in my film, it is opposite. The nun is the evil. The nun is the villain. Moving on. This is not the only convention broken by my film. Children are usually shown to be scared and targeted in the film. Well, the children were targeted but weren't shown scared, as Tom, being a 10-year-old, walked alone in the halls of St. Patrick's orphanage without a fear, and when he heard strange noises, he decided to check on it. Usually, children are too afraid that they don't go anywhere alone. One of the other conventions that I broke is that from my protagonist to antagonist, every character is played by a female, whereas in the majority of the thriller suspense films, these roles are portrayed by men. But I wanted to be different, and I showcased that as the world is evolving and modernizing, the convention should too. Women can fight evil alone, and let alone can be the evil. Lastly, I will be discussing if any social issue is represented in my film. No, as this was just the opening sequence of my thriller suspense film. That's all. Thank you for listening.